What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I wanted to talk to you about EVs. EVs are clearly going to do a lot of good things in the future. This is why they are very much popular among a lot of investors, not necessarily just retail, but I want to talk on 2023, which of them have been doing good so far, and potentially which ones might be doing the best at the end of 2023. So I'm going to go over all the stuff you need to know. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So as you can see, this is the largest companies based on market cap, which of course, I'm sure a lot of you already know, Tesla is number one with a 413.16 billion market cap. So it has gone hit quite a lot though, as everything has, but there's also Li, NIO, Rivian, Lucid, Polestar, and various other ones as you can see right here. So Hyliion is another one that's really doing fairly well today. MULN, again, I do cover this as well, but there's a lot of big ones out there as obviously I'm going to talk on. So when it comes down to it, which companies have done the best hypothetically on just year to date so far? So as you can see, the king potentially starting off with them as Tesla. Year to date, it does look like 20.85% up. Of course, they had a little bit more difficulties in relation to China, which again, based on news, it does look like that is now a thing of the past. Hopefully, Tesla will be able to continue to move forward without any more additional hurdles in that regard, at least from China. Then there is NIO. So NIO, as of right now, year to date, is currently 14.95. Of course, they are definitely doing very good. They're going to be a very big contender going forward, especially with their integration on a little bit more of a broader aspect. That is most likely going to be taking over and starting in 2023. So that definitely is something that you need to factor in. But when it comes down to NIO, a lot of people just generally don't like it because of its China aspect. Of course, what has happened over the last little bit, potentially they were going to get delisted, not delisted. There's back and forth all the time on a little bit more of a geopolitical issue. So I think as far as NIO, fundamentally is going to do a lot of good things based on its operations, but the actual stock I feel is at a substantial discount in reality. So when it comes to it, Rivian, a lot of people love Rivian, a lot of people hate Rivian. It went down quite a lot based on its IPO, but as you can see, over a year to date, it is in fact down 6.31%. So once again, if you're going to be comparing, for instance, Tesla to Rivian, advantageous goes to Tesla. So it does look like Tesla so far has been doing the best this year. And then moving on to Lucid. So currently up 3.97% just today alone. Year to date though, 25.54%. So in the comparison basis, it does look like Lucid is advantageous. Of course, there's been several different hurdles behind Lucid that's really held it back, aka production versus Rivian. A lot of people like to compare Rivian and Lucid because for the most part, they started operations in the exact same time frame, but when it comes down to Rivian, I think they're having a little bit more of a issue that I'm going to touch on a little bit later as well. So when it comes down to it though, those are some of the big ones that are going to be the big contenders in the overall sector, and hopefully we'll be able to make double if not more by the end of 2023. And there's another one as well that I'm just going to throw on here because I do cover them as well. They do have a lot of good upside potential, but the risk is next level, and that is MULN. So currently down 1.9% today, and on a year to date down 16.28, and on a 5-year basis down roughly about 96 or 97%. So they are definitely very, very risky. There's a lot of companies like that out there that are completely hammered, and they're basically these ones right here. But I think generally speaking, if there is going to be any big successful ones for the tail end of 2023, most likely it'll be these ones. But once again, I'm going to touch on all of that. On a comparison basis over the last 6 months, just comparing Tesla, Lucid, Rivian, NIO, and MULN, it does look like over the last little bit, NIO for the most part is the best contender, only down roughly about 46%. Tesla down 47.5% or 48%. Rivian down 50%, Lucid 61%, and MULN is down, looks like 75%. And this is again over the last 6 months. So as far as who's done the best so far, I would say it actually goes to Lucid, surprisingly enough. I think that a lot of people might not have assumed that based on their performance and stuff like that, but keep in mind, a lot of these companies are going to be doing their 2022 annual earnings very soon, and also their Q4. So things might change considerably, especially what they do give for future guidance. That's one big aspect that a lot of people and investors are watching and listening very closely to a lot of these companies on what they expect for the tail end or the remainder part of 2023 on what they're going to be doing for operations. But as of right now, Lucid definitely is the best EV. But when it comes down to who is going to be doing the best by the tail end of 2023, it is really hard to say because it goes based on market cap. The smaller the market cap, the more it does explode potentially based on news. Again, I did throw in Mullen, but there is a lot of risk involved. If something does substantially happen with them, then yes, they most likely will do a lot of good things, a huge amount of return on investment, but their CEO definitely does need to really step it up as far as PR and get down to delivering vehicles, because as what a lot of people have seen with Rivian and Lucid, it's one thing just making orders and prototypes, but getting things delivered is again a whole different problem. So I think Mullen might be encountering that. So if things do go their way, then yeah, they'll have a very good return on investment, probably one of the best ones. But in my opinion, I actually think it is going to follow this. So Lucid is just coming out with their lower priced vehicle. So the Pure really going to be pushing that out, going to be starting reservations for the Gravity. So I think as far as a return on investment, Lucid actually might do a lot of good things. Not to deter anyone from investing, for instance, in Tesla or NIO or for instance, Rivian. I think in general, there's going to be a big boost for EVs going into the tail end or at least the midway through 2023. Once fears do kind of start to diminish a little bit away from recession wise and things like that. But again, it's also going to come into play for multiples. So for instance, Lucid right now is at a 8.4x multiple. So a lot of people, if you're going to be comparing a lot of these right now going forward, you have to look at a lot of the multiples as well as short interest. I like to use short interest as a good benchmark, not necessarily because a lot of these companies are going to squeeze, but for instance, it's just something that the downward pressure, the opposite parties, what they think of the companies. Of course, for instance, in Tesla's case, only 2% of their free float is being shorted. NIO, I believe, is at around 11%. Rivian is at 9%. Lucid is at 27%. And Mullen is at around 12%. So it goes to show that Lucid does have a lot more haters potentially and a lot more downward pressure. Of course, this is what leads me to believe that they're going to do the best ROI of all of these. If they actually do have a lot of good operations, then a lot of that downward pressure will turn to buying pressure, causing it to go up very fast and very aggressively. So again, that's my own interpretation. I don't think that they're going to be dethroning Tesla anytime soon, as Tesla right now does have profitability and a lot of other benefits behind the scenes with them. But keep in mind what happened with Tesla recently about them lowering their prices is definitely something that is going to ripple the broader market. So as you can see, Model 3 and the Model Y have been cut quite a lot. And this is also, for instance, happening to XPeng. And I think in general, a lot of these companies are reducing costs because of this. So this is the used car value index. And as you can tell, it has gone down quite a lot, largely because of interest rates behind the scenes and other things. But generally speaking, because of this going down so much, there is a deviation. So demand for new vehicles are going down considerably. So what are companies going to be doing? They are going to be cutting the prices, reducing prices, as what I already showed you with Tesla and also XPeng. But it is fair to say that a lot of these other companies such as Rivian and Lucid are going to also follow suit, similar to Polestar as well. I know I didn't really bring up Polestar. It's not everyone's favorite one. I'm not really sure why, because of all the EVs, they technically are the only ones that actually hit the mark as far as their 2022 production targets. So again, that is one very good thing going for them. But as far as expansion and return on investment, I think a lot of people just don't like Polestar. So as far as it going up fundamentally, it's going to be a little bit more of a slower game than the other ones. Operational wise, it's going to do a lot of excellent things, but coming from an ROI, like I mentioned at the beginning, I think it's going to be Lucid. So let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. If you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that said, appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on any EV that you are investing in.